Hey everyone, Jake here for American Muscle, and in this video we're taking a look at the AWE Touring Edition Axleback exhaust with the diamond black tips fitting 2014 to 2019 C7 Corvettes. Excellent build quality, great sound, and everyday usability. These are the hallmarks of all of AWE's Touring Edition axlebacks, and this one is of course no exception. This is a super high quality system that unlocks some of that trademark Corvette sound while being acceptable for daily driver or road trip duties. Accordingly, we're going to give this one a 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter. This is definitely an increase in volume over stock, but it's not something that's going to anger your neighbors or rattle the windows. Now, making the LT1 engine sound good is pretty simple, but making it both sound good and be livable day to day, especially in a dedicated sports car, is a little bit more tricky. But the exhaust experts at AWE make it easy for you. They put in all the background engineering work so that you don't have to mess around. And their Touring Edition is about the best balance you're going to find on the market. Of the two different flavors offered for the C7, the Touring errs a bit more on the tame side. Although, as you heard from the clips at the start of the video, tame is really a bit of an understatement. This is still really going to open up the LT1 in comparison to your stock exhaust system. It's going to let that engine breathe and bark the way that it should have from the factory. You know, if you ask me. Matter of fact, I think this system should come as standard or a factory option on all C7s, but unfortunately it's a little too late for that. Thankfully though, you got it right here. Still, this is going to provide you a really pleasant, deep tone that will just make your Corvette sound absolutely fantastic. It sounds really smooth overall, but you can still hear some nuances of the engine, especially at idle and down low in the revs. Frankly, it just makes it sound like a race car. And if you can get a little bit of that C7R race car flavor on the street, why not? Now, of course, more volume outside is going to mean more volume inside of the cabin as well. You're certainly going to be aware of what's going on under the hood, but that's just part of the fun of these cars anyway. Just cruising around, it is apparent that you have an exhaust, but it's not all that much louder volume-wise than stock. When you really get on it though, that's when you're truly going to notice the difference. However, AWE has included their patented 180 technology here in the mufflers. Now inside, there are specifically designed ports and chambers that are going to allow exhaust gas pulses to move through and realign exactly 180 degrees out of phase with other frequencies. And what that's going to do is it's going to cancel out drone and give you the sound you're after without a literal headache. It's a clever trick that addresses the exact cause of drone, leaving you with a great sound and a slick piece of engineering. Now, this also means that these mufflers are not baffled, so they're essentially just straight through units. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow for better exhaust flow through the system, and that can mean more power. Now, while we're not dyno testing this one, AWE does claim an increase, and you might just notice a difference purely because you're going to be burying the throttle more often just to hear the noise. This system also includes a pair of AWE's AFM valve simulators. So what these are going to do is they're going to ensure that your car operates just like factory. The brackets will attach to the valve actuators from the stock exhaust, and essentially they're going to fool the ECU into thinking that the valves themselves are still intact and working. So you're not going to get a check engine light, your car's not going to throw any weird codes or behave strangely. The whole system is of course finished off with these sweet 4.5 inch diameter diamond black tips as well. You get 4 so you keep that classic C7 look, and this is just a little extra something to add to the appearance of your Vette. Now if you've got something like a Grand Sport like we have here, or you've got something that you're just blacking out entirely, these are going to make a really nice difference too. Construction is also a highlight, as is the case with all of AWE's systems. You get 3-inch diameter T304L stainless steel tubing with 0.65-inch thick sidewalls all the way back. Now this is going to be a full bolt-on system, so everything is going to slide right in place of your factory setup. Those tips again are 4.5 inches in diameter, and they feature that awesome diamond black finish over a double wall slash cut construction. Now this system is also available with a chrome tip option if you want to go that route instead, and we do have that available on our site. Pricing comes in at about $1,700, and that does position this towards the more expensive end of the category. This is certainly a premium option given that construction and the engineering that's baked in here. Yes, you're going to be paying quite a handsome sum of money, but you're getting a lot here as well. And if you want a really solid setup that's not going to annoy you and make your car more pleasant to drive, you got to be willing to shell out for it. Installation will get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. Now, this isn't going to require you to do any permanent modifications to your car or the system itself, so this is going to be, again, a bolt-on system, and it comes with everything you need to get it installed on your Vette. However, if you're familiar with doing exhausts on these cars, it is of course going to require a bit of disassembly, so you're going to need to allot some extra time to get that completed. With that though, let's head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, extension, a 15, 13, 11, 10, 7, T25 and T15 socket, a trim panel removal tool, an 8mm wrench, exhaust hanger tool, 6mm Allen wrench, and diagonal cutters. All right, today we're gonna be installing the exhaust on our Corvette, so let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start off under the hatch. We just have to remove our trim panel here that goes all the way across. And grab our trim panel removal tool. Just carefully get underneath our one edge here and behind. It's just gonna pull out all the way across. Just gonna work it along. All right, then we just set that in here out of the way. So now that we have our trim piece out of the way, you'll see 10 T15 screws going all the way across. Grab a ratchet and socket and take those out. If you want, you can just set them in the back here. All right, now we just need to take our rear access cover off. So there is a screw knob over here on either side. Just simply spin that off. And then you start at one edge of the trim, pull back. A couple tabs at the bottom. If you need to, just reach in. You can release them. All right, we can just leave this trim like this. It's not in the way. What we need to access is this latch cover right here. We just need to disconnect that so we can pull our cable through. So we're gonna just grab our trim panel tool and just pop up on these two tabs here to open the cover. And we're just gonna lift up on this edge here, release it out of there. Now the block here, it's nice and simple. We're just gonna flip it up and slide the cable out of the slot, just like that. Next, we're gonna get our bezels off from around our taillights. Now the trim here has to come off before we can get our bumper off and get our taillights off. We're gonna grab our trim removal tool. Just be careful. If you want, you can use a little bit of painter's tape and lay that in between the taillight and the body. If you don't want to scratch it, you shouldn't with this. But you're just gonna be very careful. Just get under this corner, pry that out. Once you have that pried out, you should be able to pull along the taillight so you don't have to go along the body. And just work your way across. And you can set this aside. So the reason we have to take this trim off is for this bolt inside here. You'll see one T15 screw. I'm gonna grab our ratchet, extension, and T15 socket and take that out. Be careful not to drop it in the bumper. And once you have this out, you can go ahead and do the same thing with the other taillight with the trim and the screw. So now we're gonna be in our wheel liner. You'll see this plastic trim here. Same thing, grab our trim removal tool, pop that off. Pull that back. Now that is held down by the bottom with another bolt, but we can get in here with our ratchet and T15 socket and take these two screws out here and here. You go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. All right, now we're gonna come in through the exhaust. You'll see two 10mm bolts on the inside here. So we'll grab our ratchet and 10mm socket and take those off. Now just be careful, if this exhaust is hot, you will burn yourself. So I recommend letting it cool down. Now we're gonna come underneath the car. You will see 6 7mm bolts going across on either side. So we're gonna grab our ratchet and 7mm socket to take all those out. Remember, when you do take one of these out, this trim piece and the wheel liner will come out. All right, just go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. All right, now we're getting ready to pull our bumper off. Now, it would be easier with 2 people. You can do this by yourself, you just gotta be careful. We're just gonna grab here and our wheel arch, so we're just gonna pull straight back on either side of the bumper to release it. All right, just let that rest up on the top there. Go ahead and release it on the other side. All right, now that we have our bumper pulled back slightly, you'll see our cable here that we disconnected inside the trunk. We're just gonna pull that through, like so. And then we also have our main harness connector right here. So I'll pull back our red locking tab and then disconnect that. And then we should be able to pull our bumper completely off now. All right, as I was pulling our bumper off, I realized we had one more electrical connector. So I'm gonna disconnect that right here. There's a red locking tab. Disconnect that, and now we can pull it completely off. All right, let's lift this off, just like that. Now that we have our rear bumper off, we can get our mufflers out. Now there are 2 13mm bolts holding the mufflers together. We're gonna start with those, grab a ratchet socket, and take those out. All right, now we're gonna come back here to our tips. So our car is equipped with NPP, so we have valves on our tips. We're just gonna disconnect them. There is a white locking tab on the connector, and push down and pull off. See the white tab right there. Just tuck that harness out of the way, and we're gonna get this hanger down. Grab our ratchet, extension, and 13mm socket, and take those 2 bolts out. All right, now in front of our muffler, you will see another valve. That is our AFM valve. Now the connector is the same as the NPP. We're just gonna reach in with the muffler hanging down. You can access that and disconnect that, just like so. Now we're gonna come in front of our axle, and we have our clamp. So we're gonna grab our impact and 15mm socket and loosen this clamp up. All right, now we're just gonna start at our muffler and just give it a good twist and wiggle, and it should pop out of our mid pipe. Now we can just pull that out over our axle. All right, now you can go ahead and do the same thing with the driver's side muffler. The only difference on this is, since we have an automatic Corvette, the shift linkage is in the way. You just need to put your shifter into neutral so that you have enough clearance to get the muffler out. All right, now for our stock exhaust, we have to take a couple things off. So we have to take our factory hanger off, and then we have to take our AFM valves off. The FEP, just stay on there. We are deleting those. We're gonna grab a ratcheting 8mm wrench and take these 3 bolts off. All right, just take your valve off. Make sure you retain your hardware. You will be reusing that. And for our exhaust hanger, we're gonna grab our hanger tool and just pop this off. Now you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other muffler. All right, now for our factory valve, we do need to put on a simulator since they are getting deleted. How we do that, we're gonna take this Torx bolt out of here. We're gonna grab our ratchet, our T25 Torx bit. Now it will spin while taking off, but once it hits its stop, it'll break free. Then we're going to just flip it and reinstall our Torx bolt. Doesn't need to be crazy tight, so don't over tighten it. Now we're gonna put our bracket over, and then this is where we are going to reuse our factory hardware to secure to our bracket. Grab our 8mm wrench and tighten them down. All right, go ahead and do the same thing with the other motor. All right, now we're gonna mount our motors with our simulators. These get plugged in like so. Make sure you secure the white locking tab down. And now you can secure these however you want. You just want to secure them up out of the way of anything that might be hot or moving, especially out of the way of the exhaust. And you want to make sure, because this will be moving here, that's not going to be rubbing against anything. We're just going to secure ours to this harness right here. That should keep it out of the way enough. But like I said, you can do it however you want. Grab a couple of the supplied zip ties. Just gonna leave it a little loose just in case I need to move it over to make clearance for the exhaust. But you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other motor. All right, now we got our motor secured up out of the way. We have some supplied heat tape. Now we already have some heat shield on our lines, but we're just gonna double up. Make sure we keep all of this heat out of here. Tuck that down and around. You can grab a couple of the supplied zip ties, feed that around and secure that down. And once you have that secured up out of the way, you can just take a pair of diagonal cutters and just go across all of your zip ties and just cut off the excess. All right, now we're gonna get our over the axle pipes in. You just wanna make sure that you have the right ones. 86 will be for the passenger side and 85 will be for the driver. So we're gonna feed that up over our axle and then down and slide into our mid pipe. All right, you can go ahead and do the same thing with the driver's side pipe. All right, so just a side note, because we did get the driver's side in off camera. Now since this pipe is a little bit larger than the factory one, it was a little bit harder to get in, especially because it isn't automatic and the shift linkage is right there. So what we had to do is take our impact and 13mm socket, loosen up this hanger here and our skid plate. That just allows us to get enough flex to pull down and get that pipe into place. So once you get done that, you just go ahead and tighten these all back up with the hanger and we can continue going on with our exhaust. All right, now we're gonna get our muffler sections put on. Just make sure you have the right ones. 88 will be your passenger side, 87 will be your driver's side. As you see, we already have our clamp over here. So slide that over our axle pipe. Get that set into place. Slide our hanger over. And while we're here, just keep everything held up in place. Let's thread our 2 bolts in. Just like that. Get everything held up, and then you can go ahead and do the same thing with the muffler on the driver's side. Now we're gonna grab our impact and 13mm socket and tighten down our 2 hanger bolts. And then while we're here for our rear valves for the harness, you need to just tuck that out of the way since they are deleted. We're just gonna tuck ours here. You can throw a zip tie on it if you want. Once you have that done, just go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. All right, now we're gonna get our middle bracket installed. It's gonna go like that in the forward side of our brackets. We're gonna slide our Allen bolts through and put our nuts on the back side. So we can get all of this loosely installed first. Now that this is all loosely installed, we'll go back and tighten all of our clamps, starting in the front, working our way backwards. All right, so we have our 2 factory clamps here. We're gonna grab our impact and 15mm socket and tighten these 2 down. Next, we need to tighten our 2 clamps at our mufflers on either side. So we're gonna start on our passenger side here. Now you see it is very tight with our muffler in place, but orient the clamp correctly, you can get a ratchet on it and a 15mm socket and tighten it down. Go ahead and do the same thing for the other muffler. Now we're gonna tighten our brace in the middle. So I have our 6mm ball Allen socket just to help get that inner on that angle, and a 13mm wrench to tighten the back. Now this also does help keep everything level. Raise that up a little bit and tighten this down. Once you have all of this tight, you just want to go back, make sure all the exits for the tips are level so that your tips will be even. You may need to go back and loosen up some clamps and adjust some pipes and brackets. It's no big deal. But now we can put our tips on. Now we can put our tips on. So you see our hardware, we have our bolt with our nut. And slide that over. And we're just gonna pull it off just a little bit, make sure it's level, and grab our impact and 11mm socket and tighten that down. You can go ahead and do the same thing with the other 3 tips. All right, now we're gonna get our bumper back in place so we can reinstall our 2 connectors, and then our cable will go through the back. So we're just gonna plug in our 2 connectors. We have our smaller one here. Make sure you secure the red locking tab. And the same thing with our main harness. And then we just have to feed our cable back through and secure in there. Just pull it all the way through. Then we can get our bumper on the rest of the way. All right, just line up the top, push it on, and just get it lined up in the corners. Then we can start re-securing our hardware. So now we're gonna reinstall our 215 screw in the back in between our tail light. Grab our ratchet extension and T15 socket, and put that in. Next, reinstall your tail light trim. Just line all the tabs up and snap into place. Once you have this done, you gotta do the same thing with the other tail light. Now we're gonna come back underneath and re-secure all of our 7mm bolts on either side. And then grab our ratchet and socket and tighten those down. All right, and then on our outside hole, we're gonna put our trim back in our wheel well and line that bolt up on the bottom and tighten that down. Go ahead and do the same thing on the other side of the car. Then we just have our 2 10mm bolts behind our tips. Just grab our ratchet extension and 10mm socket, tighten those 2 down. So now we're gonna go in our wheel well, grab our ratchet and T15 socket, and screw in our 2 screws here. Just line up all the tabs on your trim, snap that back in place. Go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Now we're gonna re-secure our cable. Now the ball ends will go into this larger slot here. And my hand might be blocking most of it, but we'll try. Get that secured in there. Lock the cable in the end here. Make sure that sits flat in there, and then close the lid. Now we can get our trim cover back into place. Just gonna get all of our tabs lined up. Then you'll need to just raise the seal all the way across so it fits properly. Then we have our 2 screw tabs on either side. Screw this one in on the other side, and we can get our hardware back in going all the way across. All right, grab our ratchet and T15 socket and re-secure all of our screws going all the way across. And lastly, we just have to put our trim piece back in place. Just line up all the tabs, secure it in. And that wraps up our install of our AWE Touring Edition Axleback exhaust with diamond black tips for our 2014 to 2019 Corvette C7. And remember, for everything Corvette, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.